Well, 2024 has certainly been a very interesting year for the area, but what does 2025 have in store for Newcastle, Gated and the general Tyneside area? Lots of questions to be asked, lots of things or events that may not happen. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of them. It's coming up. Welcome back, it's Eddie here from Tyneside Life and Happy New Year. All the best for 2025. Have you made any New Year's resolutions? If you have, drop them down, let us see in the comments below. So 2024 is certainly for my channel been a very interesting year. It's been a year of transition where I've moved away from day-to-day football content and concentrated more on general history and culture. And there was always going to be a risk with that because I've built up generally a footballing audience, so I didn't know how it was going to go when I moved from the day-to-day football stuff. But beyond my wildest dreams, the growth of the channel has accelerated significantly and I'm chuffed to bits. I'm not saying I'm not going to be doing football content in the future, but it's not going to be the day-to-day stuff. It's not going to be transfers or match reactions. It's going to be wider aspect stuff. So for those football viewers, Newcastle United fans who have decided to stick around, thank you very much and welcome aboard to all my new viewers. But also as well, if you're new here watching this video, what can you expect from Tyneside Life? Well, I do history and culture of the area, but I also do videos. I've been dabbling in kind of one or two travel type videos. I did one about the ferry trip to Amsterdam from North Shields, which has done really, really well. But also some kind of investigative journalism, if you like, a citizen journalist. I've been looking at the Sycamore Gap trial, if you remember the Sycamore Gap tree that was cut down at the back end of September last year. I've been covering that. Those videos have been doing very well. So I'm hoping to do more of that kind of stuff as well as the day-to-day bread and butter history and culture stuff of Tyneside. If all of that appeals to you, why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell, so every time I release a new video, you'll receive an instant notification. Talking of Sycamore Gap, one of the first questions for 2025 is, will any or both of the two suspects for the Sycamore Gap trial, Daniel Graham, aged 39, and Adam Crothers, aged 32, both from the Cumbria area, be convicted of that crime? Well, the trial is still ongoing. It hasn't actually started yet. I've done 5 or 6 videos on the Sycamore Gap trial, 2 of them from Sycamore Gap. They're in a playlist on my home page. If you hit the playlist button, you'll see all my playlists. Just go to the Sycamore Gap trial and knock yourself out so you can get a bit of background information about what's been going on. At the minute, we don't actually know when the trial is going to commence. But you'll also know that I do make every attempt to get into the Crown Court room on the day for various hearings to find out what's going on. So I'll be doing that as well when the trial eventually happens. I am aware that there is global media interest in this, so mainstream media representatives have been booking seats in the public gallery, which is making it very difficult for ordinary members of the public to get in. But I'm going to be trying my best to get in, but as and when we'll have news of this trial, I'll be giving you an update. Another burning question for 2025 is, are they going to build that brand new state-of-the-art 12,500 seater Sage Arena directly behind me there, which is going to be nestled just in front of Gated College and in between the Baltic and the Glass House? Well, this has been going on for 2 or 3 years now with plans to build this fantastic new arena that's going to replace the old utility arena by the Redheugh Bridge. And there's also going to be an international conference centre just in front of that. There was going to be a hotel, and there's going to be a car park and public realm areas. The hotel's been knocked on the head because of rising costs. But by all accounts, there are some financial issues regarding the building of the new arena. I do know that there was initial preparatory work to the land earlier in 2024, but since then, everything is just ground to a halt. I'm going to be doing a whole dedicated and separate video to give you the latest information about whether this arena build is actually going to go ahead. So again, hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss that. Some exciting news for 2025 as well. If you've been following the channel, you will know I've had a bit of a pet project to try and find out why the people of this general area are called Geordies. And it's a fascinating topic. It's took us everywhere. It's even taken us to Edinburgh to do some research up there. And I've seen the websites that you watching this right now will have read about, the two popular theories as to how we've come about to be referred to as Geordies. But I've got a critical mind. I ask questions. I want to know, where did that information come from? Who said that? Is that recorded historically? Is there a reference to that? And when you start digging, you find out all sorts of different things. I also, in a recent video, interviewed a history academic who has in-depth knowledge of working class Newcastle during the 18th century, which is during the period of the Jacobite uprisings. Check it out if you haven't checked that video out. Again, the Geordie videos, the 4 or 5 I've done, are on a separate playlist, which you'll find on my home screen. So very insightful. So I'm ready now to do a kind of a conclusion video about what I've found. And I think you're going to find that really interesting about the origin of why we're called Geordies. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Of course, one of the biggest topics for the Tyneside and Newcastle area specifically is Newcastle United. And of course, you'll know I'm a huge Newcastle United fan. I've got a season ticket with Newcastle, which I've had since 1994. What does 2025 hold for Newcastle United? I think it's fair to say, in my own personal view, I'm split, actually. I'm very excited in some respects in regards to 2025 for Newcastle, but also very concerned as well. I'm excited because we're doing well at the minute. Again, Eddie Howe, absolutely, for me, a superb manager and coach. When things aren't going well, he digs in and he finds that way to tweak the system to get the best out of our current crop of very talented players. And we're reaping the rewards for that. We're currently 5th. We've got a reasonable shout for a European place, possibly even a Champions League place. We're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup again, another very reasonable chance to get to Wembley in March. So I'm very, very excited about what could happen for Newcastle United at club level, being led by Eddie Howe and the rest of the coaching team. Could 2025 be the year that Newcastle United win their first domestic trophy since 1955, about 69 years? Fingers crossed. And you will know, if you've been following the channel, that I've been on a bit of a kind of, want of a better term, a campaign for Newcastle United to recognise the true foundation year of Newcastle United being 1881, as Stanley FC, who then changed their name to Newcastle East End, and then in 1892 Newcastle East End changed their name to Newcastle United. And I've spoken to Lee Marshall, who's head of content and media. He's the guy that sits next to Eddie Howe in the press conferences. We've exchanged a couple of emails. He has said to me that internally they recognised the club, that there was no merger between Newcastle East End and West End. They accept the foundation story of 1881 and has assured me actually that I'm pushing against an open door. But the history page hasn't been updated yet. It's been 6 months now. I do expect that to be happening sometime soon in 2025 to reflect the true history of Newcastle United. And there is a popular banner that's starting to emerge now. You'll see a couple of flags in the East Stand at St James's Park. One flag covering one exit entryway into the stands with formed 1881, and at the next entry exit point it says became united in 1892. So that looks like it's going to become the buzz phrase from now on. Newcastle United, formed in 1881, became united in 1892. But I'll keep you posted on any developments on the history page of the Newcastle United website. So loads of stuff to think about for 2025. Also as well, we have that new fleet of 46 Swiss-built metros, which are going to be phased in over the next few months or so. Really excited about that because their metros at the minute are so unreliable. They're breaking down. It's a bit of a pain in the backside at the minute with the metro system. Let me know if there's anything else you can think of, big issues or questions for 2025 that you'd like me to consider covering in a video, and I'll have a look at it. But that's it from me for the time being, and I'll catch you next time.